Hey, what's up, folks? How's it going? This is Avijit here, and welcome to Devops Challenge Hub. So let's start with today's interview question. Today's interview question is: what is Bastion Host, and why do we need this Bastion Host? And do we have anything which is better than Bastion Host? Okay. So Bastion Host is like your security check in at the airport. So when you go to airport, there will be security check, and after that only you will be able to go to your boarding area. There are like different planes parked, and you can go to your boarding area, respective boarding area. So without security check, you cannot go there. So that's a kind of single point of entry. Security check is the single point of entry. Similarly, Bastion Host also single point of entry for the private instances in the private subnet. So, for example, when you visit a website, like for example, Flipkart or Amazon, like they have this front end. So that front end web server. It is running in the public subnet. That instance, those instances are in public subnet. Private subnet, what we have application server database. So database we don't need, like normal users don't need direct access. They will be going through the front end. They will say, show me the product, like search product in the Flipkart website or Amazon website. And finally, there will be a query happen in the backend database. So front end will be accessing the backend database, which are there in the private subnet. So we won't have access, direct access. But the developer or DevOps engineers, they will have access because for maintenance, they want to access the database server which are there in the private subnet, but they have private IP. How they will access that database server? So that is the issue. Hmm. So what is Bastion Host? Bastion Host is a security entry point to reach your private EC2 server that don't have public IP. It shows security entry point in AWS, which is that server which is running in public subnet in AWS, and through which you can enter to the private subnet. So you SSH into that Bastion, from Bastion to that database server which is there in the private. So why do we need it? Because we have a private server that should not be exposed to internet, but development admin team, they need them for maintenance. So how will you access? Because they don't have public IP, and you cannot give public IP to all the database servers. There are like maybe 10 servers, 20 servers, 100 servers, management server, application server, and all 100 servers cannot get public IP. So let them have private IP. You will have one server, which is called Bastion Host. That will be a single point of entry through which you will be entering. So that Bastion Host will have public IP. So place one server in a public subnet. Only this host is accessible from your laptop. Once inside the Bastion, you can switch into private EC2 safely using internal IPs. Using internal IPs, you will be able to SSH because your EC2 instance, which is there on the public IP, which is there on the public subnet, it will also have some private IP address that private that instance also having private IP, and they will be able to log in using that internal IPs. So how what is the improvement? Only one public server, so it reduces the surface. Bastion Host, it's only one public server, and through which you are entering to a different private server. So it increases, reduce the attack surface, control access. You can lock access to only your IP. If a developer can say that only from my laptop I'll be able to access. Easy to monitor since all SSH RDP traffic going through this server. So all traffic is getting routed through that Bastion host. No public IP is needed for all your private EC2 instance. And central firewall rules you can apply. Configure rules only once at Bastion, not on every server. So these are the advantages, right? Control access, easy to monitor, no public IP needed for your private instances, central firewall rules, only one server reduces attack surface. So on AWS, what you do, you create a Bastion host, which is there on the public subnet. It has public IP and SSH access allows from your laptop only. So you log into your Bastion host using SSH. And from there, you log into a private EC2 server and using private IP. So access flow is like from laptop, you do SSH to Bastion host. From Bastion host, you do again SSH to private EC2. So two round of SSH. SSH to Bastion host, SSH to from Bastion host to private EC2. What are the best practices? It uses SSH authentication, SSH key authentication, so no password-based authentication, key authentication, logging or session recording for auditing, restrict SSH to IP only using security group, and you can use also AWS session manager. So that will come to later. So this is the this is how it will look like. Your laptop SSH client. You will log into Bastion Host, which is a public IP. It is in public subnet. Port 22 is open to your IP. From this Bastion Host, you log into another EC2A private IP, EC2B private IP. These are there in the private subnets. So this is how it will look like. Without Bastion Host, if you want to do, how can you do that? So in EC2 instance, if you want to do without Bastion Host, then you have AWS System Manager, Session Manager. It actually more secure and simpler than SSH. So if SM agent is running from your dashboard, you will be the instance. On that instance, you can say that logging using that Session Manager, and you will be able to log in. No public IP, no problem. You can use a Session Manager even if they're in private subnet. No SSH, no key file. You don't need SSH access. Private files are don't need to open port number 22. That is the advantage. Secure browser-based CLI access from your browser dashboard. Go to that your EC2 instance which is there in the private subnet and say connect using SSM. So that way you are able to log in. So that's the advantage. So what are the advantage? IAM role. EC2 instance must have an IAM role with SSM permission. SSM agent should be running, installed and running. If the instance is in private subnet, create VPC endpoint for SSM and EC2 messages. No internet needed. No SSH access needed. You don't need to port open. So advantages over Bastion Host. Public IP is not needed. For Bastion Host, it's required, but for SSM manager, you don't need. SSH key required for Bastion Host. You don't need this for port 22 should be open for Bastion Host. You don't need this port 22. Audit and logging, it's a manual. You have to set up on Bastion Host. This is on Session Manager. It's a built-in with Cloud Train. Cost, you have extra EC2 cost for Bastion Host because extra machine you are running. Here, no extra instance is needed. So this is cheaper. So these are the benefits of SM Session Manager. So real life use case, how do you do that? You have private EC2 instance in secure VPC, no open port, no public IP. So attach IAM role to your EC2 instance. Make sure SM agent is running, and then start sessions from AWS console or CLI. From command line or AWS, go to AWS console, AWS dashboard, and then you can connect using Session Manager. So let's go to the quiz section. Which of the following is true without about using a Bastion host to connect to EC2 instance in private subnet? Bastion host resides in a private subnet, no public IP. Bastion host provides a direct internet connection. Bastion host requires SSH key and security group rules. Bastion host requires SSH key and security group rules. So C is the correct answer. Bastion host needs to be in the public subnet with a public IP, requires SSH key AWS login. Properly configure security groups to allow SSH. Second question is, what is the key advantage of using AWS System Manager, Session Manager over Bastion host? So answer is requires to open to try to no, this is not the one. So answer is C. Session Manager allows passwordless access without exposing instances to the internet. So that's it for today. Hope you like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow LinkedIn page DevOps Challenge Hub. I post quiz and contact contest daily, so you can participate in the contest, and you can also follow my WhatsApp channel. Thank you for watching this video.